Hi everyone, I see we have some people joining already. We will begin here in about 2 minutes, so keep on joining and hang tight. We'll start in about 2 minutes. All right, hi everyone, and thank you for joining today's masterclass. Today's masterclass is for brokers and admins and agents alike, so everybody is welcome today. We will be going over the working docs section of SkySlope, and there will be certain functionalities that are limited to admin. So I will point those out as we get through. But before we even begin here, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me and see my screen that says SkySlope Masterclass Working Docs Overview. So if you can hear me and see that screen, please hit the raise hand icon. If you've been to a masterclass before, I'm sure you're used to this. All right. I see that you guys can see me and see my screen, not see me, and hear me. All right, so we're just gonna get right into it. All right, so as mentioned, we're going over the working docs section today. So it's this icon right here, and I really wanted to go over this because I feel as though this is an underutilized area of the platform. I think that a lot of people kind of stick up here, right? Especially as admin, and especially as agents, actually, you're probably just sticking in your listings and your transactions, but there's a whole bunch of stuff we can do in working documents. So before we even get into it, I just kind of want to explain a brief overview of what working docs is. So working docs is exactly like its name, right? Anything that you are working on will typically live here. So there are multiple tabs and we'll go through each and every one. But sort of anything that wouldn't be associated with a property can be housed in working documents. So anything pre-contract, maybe you're working with a buyer, you don't have a house yet, those kinds of things. I get questions all the time, well, where can I keep X, Y, and Z? And I always suggest the working document section. So now we're gonna kind of discuss what we can use and where. During this entire training, if you do have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A feature, and that way I can get to any of your questions at the end. So again, use the Q&A feature. If you have questions, I'll get to those at the end. All right, so let's get right into it. Working documents. I'm clicking on this icon. All right, so there's a couple tabs here, and you may see different tabs depending on what's enabled in your account. So the first tab that we see and that we're in right now is this office inbox. Now this is something that is enabled on a case-by-case basis, so it's not automatically turned on. This is something that only admin have visibility into, but agents or anyone really can email into. So what do I mean by that? Well, there is an email associated with this office inbox. How you find that, if you're wondering, if you go to the admin section to manage offices, if you notice that there's an office email associated, you'll see it's an @skyslope.com email. Well, any attachment that is sent into this email ends up in the office inbox. So this office inbox is great for things like buyer broker forms, rejected offers, anything that isn't really going to go into a property file, but you need to see it anyway. So again, this will have an email associated with it. It's not something that is turned on automatically. And agents can email into the system, and the admin and broker team can have visibility into what's in here. So agents, I'm sorry you can't see what's in the office inbox. Your admin and brokers can, but you can definitely email into this office inbox. So a lot of time, again, people will use this section for things like buyer broker forms if you're, showing a house and you just need to get a form signed, or potentially rejected offer. Someone puts an offer on a house, we don't accept that offer, but we still want to keep a record of it. Well, we're not going to create an entire property file for that. We might just turn on the office inbox. Again, how you will find that email, again, this is for admin, is under this Manage Offices section in your admin section, and that office email lives here. If you're not the broker, you can't turn this on, but your broker can, and your account manager can. So if you want this enabled, if you've been waiting for a place to store your rejected offers or store any certain forms that aren't necessarily associated with a property, then I would reach out to your account manager and ask them to have this enabled. We also have an entire masterclass specifically on the office inbox. And if you go to the masterclass homepage, you'll see a recording of that. So if you're wondering more about the office inbox, again, case-by-case basis, and once it's enabled, it'll be visible for the admin team. Now you'll see that some things were emailed into here. When they're emailed in, you can open them up just by single clicking and viewing it. And this is just a fake document because we're in our demo account. You can also do certain things with the office inbox. So let's say, my agents email in some sort of, disclosure or form that wasn't necessarily associated with a property yet, but now I want to associate it with a property. Well, I can select what I'm looking for, and with selected, I can assign it to a property by hitting assign. You can also split from within the office inbox. So if someone emails you a packet and there's a packet of forms and you want to split that up, you can do that. You can email out from the office inbox. So let's say, someone else needs a copy of this, you can email out from the office inbox. And lastly, you can move these forms to the rejected offers. So you'll see here, there's this tab, it says rejected offers. Well, this is just a subset of the office inbox. So when we enable the office inbox, if we choose to do so, then this tab will also be enabled. It's kind of like a buy one, get one free sort of deal here. So with the selected, let's say these 3 were rejected offers, and I want to keep a little bit organized. I'm going to move it out of the office inbox, and with selected, I'm going to move it to the rejected offers. Now, if I go to rejected offers, I'll see the documents that I moved. So it's kind of just to keep organized. Sometimes people don't ever move their files over to this sort of subsect of the office inbox. They don't ever move it over to rejected offers, but it's an option for you. Okay, that's the office inbox and rejected offers. Now, personal docs. Personal docs you can think of as a completely private storage area. Anything that you're working on pre-contract can be housed here. As you'll see, you can create folders over here. And you can move your forms over by hitting move. And now they're in a folder. You can also send for DigiSign. So let's say I uploaded a document into Personal Docs. Now I want to send it through DigiSign. I can just select the form I want and hit DigiSign. Fun fact, everyone's Personal Docs has an email associated with it. So if you click under your name and you go to My Account, you'll have this email right here. It's an @skyslope.com email. This isn't the office inbox. The one with the question mark next to it is associated with your Personal Docs. So if you ever don't want to download something onto your computer and re-upload it, but you want to get it into SkySlope without having a property, just feel free to send it on over to your Personal Documents email, which again can be found in the My Account section. From here, You can also assign forms to a property. You can delete it if you're just entirely done with it. You can email out. And again, this is how you'd move it to a different folder. If we kind of want to keep all of our buyer documents together before we actually have a house, this is a great place to keep everything organized pre-property. And then lastly, we have the office docs. So unlike personal docs, office docs is a centralized area that everybody has visibility into. So personal docs was personal to you. Office docs, let's say we have some brokerage specific forms that we don't get through our MLS, we don't get through a forms provider. It's kind of in-house forms. Maybe an attorney made them for us. Maybe an admin, edited our forms so they look a little bit different. Well, in that case, we can upload those documents here. And again, you have to be the broker to actually upload to the office docs. And then once you've uploaded to the office docs, it should be visible for everyone. If you click on a form in the office docs, it'll open in a separate page. You can fill it out and save it, and then maybe drag and drop it into DigiSign. Okay, so again, office inbox, that's for sort of anything that you want as admin to see that isn't associated with a property. So those buyer broker forms, rejected offers, things like that. Rejected offers, just a sub inbox of the office inbox. Personal docs is a completely private storage area, and you also have an email associated with it right here. And lastly, office docs is a storage area for the entire brokerage where you can cherry pick and select forms that maybe aren't necessarily associated with your MLS or a separate forms provider. So if you'd like to turn on your office inbox and you're not the broker, I would suggest reaching out to your account manager. If you don't know who your account manager is, you can always email cs@skyslope.com. If you want to upload to the office docs, but you're not the broker, you can also reach out to your account manager. Again, this is if you're an admin. I wouldn't suggest doing this if you were an agent. I don't know that that would get approved, but you can always try. All right, now I want to open the floor to some questions because I see that we already have some coming in, and I'd like to answer in a fashion that everyone sees. But if you don't have any questions, then you're free to go and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. If you do have questions, please put them in the Q&A. All right. So I got a good question, and I think this is a common misconception. Someone asked, is there a log of some sort for rejected docs to show when a principal broker reviewed for compliance purposes? So I'm assuming you're saying rejected docs as in rejected offers, right? Maybe we emailed into the office inbox. So the office inbox is not to be confused with like actually having a property and reviewing it. This is more of, I just need visibility into it. It's not really something that I'm going to get necessarily audited on, but I want a record of it. That's what you would use the office inbox for. Because the office inbox is not associated with quick audit. It's not like you can review it and hit accept or reject, right? That's where the checklist comes into play. So I would say if you are using this area for compliance purposes, don't do that. You just want to use this area for things like, hey, I need visibility into this, but it's not necessarily like for compliance, it's more for our record. I hope that makes sense. Okay, any other questions? Please use that Q&A and submit them now. I see some people raising their hands. That's not how you ask a question. I can't hear you if you raise your hand. So feel free to use the Q&A or even the chat feature if you don't see the Q&A and ask me whatever questions you have. I got another question. If I'm licensed in Oregon and Washington, do we use the same SkySlope for both? You can definitely use the same SkySlope for multiple different offices. I'm not sure if you're an agent or not, but you might want to reach out. If you are an agent, you might want to reach out to your admin or broker because it sounds like a case of needing multiple offices. because we can have multiple offices in the system. If you're an admin or a broker, then I would suggest reaching out to your account manager and seeing if you can have multiple offices. That way you can toggle between Oregon and Washington when selecting your deals. So to answer your question, yes, you can use the same SkySlope for both, but you might need 2 offices in SkySlope. Great question. Someone asked, you said fill out the doc when it's in personal docs. How do you do that? And then how do you move it to an active file? Well, I guess I should have elaborated on that, so thank you for flagging that. If we upload something to the personal docs or email in, right, from let's say like a forms provider, let's say it's Transaction Desk and we don't like their signing tool, so we want to use SkySlope signing tool. From Transaction Desk, you know, I could send my forms over. Well, I'd probably fill them out in Transaction Desk, but let's say I send my forms over. If those forms are already fillable, meaning that, you know, like let's say here, like if I open this listing packet, this is not fillable. Like I can't type this in, right? I'm clicking away, nothing's working. But if your form is already fillable, or if it comes from a source where the form is already fillable, then it'll still be fillable in SkySlope. And then once you're done, you can kind of just save it by saying download and save, and it'll live here. And then what I would suggest is just going to DigiSign. And you can hit like new envelope and no property. And then because I saved this and it is living right here, I can just drag and drop it there. So I hope that makes sense. If there's a more specific flow that you're requesting, like from your forms provider into SkySlope, again, I would suggest reaching out if you know who your account manager is, or reach out to your admin and broker and they can ask, because I want to be more specific. Okay, is there a feature that allows us to create a template for, say, offer docs or listing docs, so we can just refer to said template when it's time to enter a new transaction or listing? This is a great question. My recommendation is to only house the documents in Office Docs that you don't get from a different forms provider. So that's key, number one. If a majority of your forms are in-house, they are brokerage specific, then I would suggest working with your account manager to make sure that we have these subfolders correct. So as you'll see, we have in the Office Docs, we have like a company folder, meaning the entire company has visibility. And then within here, we have subfolders. So I could go into the subfolder and say, you know, I have an REO sale. Here's all the forms that I need for an REO sale. This is something that we would have to set up. So if you are an agent, reach out to your admin and say, hey, I watched this great masterclass and I think this would be beneficial. If you are an admin, I would say reach out to your account manager or CS at skyslope.com if you don't know who that is. That way we can make sure, A, this is being used properly and it's getting set up correctly. Great question. All right, I have time for one more question and then I do have to go here, guys. If you have any other questions, again, I know I've been mentioning account manager, but that's our job here, is to make sure that your platform is set up correctly and that everyone is utilizing it well. So if you are a broker or an admin and you have any questions about this or the setup, I would suggest reaching out to your customer success manager, account manager, whoever it may be. And if you don't know who that is, like I said, you can always email cs@skyslope.com and we will reroute you to your person. All right, I don't see that anyone is asking any more questions. Please feel free to reach out to us or reach out to support by hitting this little icon right here. And please join us for next week's masterclass as well.